The bitter wind cut through the streets like shards of glass that Christmas Eve, scattering leaves and scraps of paper across the empty sidewalks. Streetlights flickered in the early darkness, casting a cold, wavering glow on the snow-dusted pavement. Michael, a single father, was driving home from the office, weary from a day that had stretched far longer than any workday should. His eyes caught a small, fragile figure huddled near a dumpster. At first he thought he was imagining it. Children weren't supposed to be out here in the biting December cold. But as his car slowed, the sight became painfully real. A little girl no more than 7 was searching through trash, her small hands trembling with every movement, her coat threadbare and soaked. Her hair, matted and dark, clung to her face, and her eyes, wide with hunger and fear, met his for a fleeting second before she quickly ducked behind the dumpster again. Michael's heart sank in a way he hadn't felt since his wife died 3 years ago. He had a 10-year-old son, Ethan, waiting at home, and yet this tiny human seemed so completely invisible to the world. Something inside him stirred, a mixture of compassion, sorrow, and helplessness. He pulled over and got out of the car, the snow crunching under his boots. "Please stay there," he whispered, not wanting to frighten her further. As he approached, he noticed the little girl's shivering more from cold than fear, and his chest tightened. This was a child who should have been at home, surrounded by warmth, not digging through someone else's discarded leftovers. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Slowly, cautiously, Michael knelt in the snow. He offered her the sandwich he had grabbed from a cafe on his way home. The girl's eyes widened, not in trust but in disbelief, and she hesitated before taking it with tiny, frozen fingers. It was a simple gesture, yet in that moment, Michael realized the weight of the world she carried alone. He asked her name, and through small, hesitant words, she told him it was Lily. Michael could see the story behind her words: hunger, abandonment, fear of being noticed, and the instinct to hide. He didn't know her story yet, but he knew this. She was alone on Christmas Eve, a night that was supposed to be filled with love and laughter. He wrapped his coat around her small shoulders, and together they walked to his car. The warmth inside made her gasp as she settled in the passenger seat, still clutching the sandwich like it was a treasure. Michael's own grief, the loneliness of being a single parent, seemed to melt away for a moment, replaced by an urgent need to protect this child. On the drive home, the city lights blurred through the windshield. Michael tried to piece together what could have driven a child to this life. He imagined her nights, sleeping under bridges, scavenging for scraps, and somehow surviving in a world that had turned its back on her. When they arrived at his apartment, Ethan was waiting at the door, pajamas rumpled, eyes wide with curiosity and concern. Michael introduced Lily gently, sensing how fragile she was. Ethan didn't ask questions at first. He simply offered her the blanket from his bed and a warm smile. Watching them together, Michael felt a flicker of hope he hadn't known he was missing. Over the next few days, Michael learned bits of Lily's story, each revelation more heart-wrenching than the last. Her parents had died in a car accident when she was 4. Her relatives, already struggling, refused to take her in, leaving her to survive on the streets. The shelter she had found only offered temporary space, and every attempt to find a more permanent home had ended in disappointment. Michael felt a gnawing anger at a world that had failed her, but more than that, he felt an overwhelming need to become the family she never had. The first Christmas morning they shared was quiet but powerful. Lily hesitated at first, unsure how to react to the tree, the lights, and the small gifts Michael had bought with careful budgeting. Ethan's laughter and chatter filled the apartment, and slowly Lily's face softened, the shadow of fear lifting just slightly. That morning Michael realized that kindness could be contagious, that hope could be nurtured, and that sometimes family was not defined by blood, but by love and protection. Life, however, was not without its challenges. Michael struggled to balance work, parenting, and caring for a child whose trust in the world had been shattered. Nights were long, tears frequent, and patience tested. But every time he watched Lily fall asleep with a small, contented smile, He knew he was exactly where he needed to be. Slowly, the girl who had once searched dumpsters began to thrive. She laughed more, spoke more, and began to attend school with Ethan, learning things Michael had once thought impossible. Her presence, once an unexpected burden, became a source of strength for him and his son. One snowy evening, as they decorated the tree together, Lily pulled Michael aside. Her small hand gripped his and her eyes were serious. She whispered something that made his chest tight. "Thank you for seeing me, really seeing me." In that moment, he realized the truth that had stunned him at first sight, that one small act of noticing, of caring, could change a life forever. He had saved her in one sense, but she had saved him in another, teaching him patience, compassion, and the profound depth of human connection. Months passed, and the family of three settled into a rhythm filled with love, routine, and laughter. Lily became more confident, Ethan more protective, and Michael more understanding of the delicate threads that bind people together. He reflected often on that Christmas Eve, on the little girl he had found in the cold, on the warmth that one act of kindness had sparked. He began volunteering, hopping to extend the same care to other children in need, spreading a ripple of kindness that had begun with one small sandwich and a warm coat. The following Christmas, the neighborhood gathered for a community tree lighting. Michael stood with Ethan and Lily, holding her small hand. She no longer hid in fear but stood proud, a spark of joy in her eyes that illuminated everything around her. People smiled at the family, some asking about their story, unaware that in that moment, an invisible bond of love and survival had become visible for all to see. Michael understood deeply that the holiday spirit was not in the gifts or the decorations, but in noticing the unseen, in reaching out when it is easier to walk past, and in the courage to love without expectation. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of compassion and second chances, please engage with this video. Like, comment, and share and help spread the message of hope. And before you go, I have a special request. Leave a comment telling us about a time someone's kindness changed your life, no matter how small it seemed. Michael would never forget that Christmas Eve. He would never forget the little girl searching the trash who had unknowingly opened a door to change all of their lives. He realized that in saving her, he had rediscovered a world he thought he had lost, the world of hope, connection, and the profound magic of human kindness. And as Lily drifted off to sleep that night, warm and safe, he whispered a quiet promise that no child should ever be invisible and no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. The snow fell softly outside, blanketing the city in quiet, shimmering peace. Inside, a family laughed, loved, and lived, proof that even in the darkest moments, light could be found. And sometimes, all it takes is one person noticing, truly noticing, to spark a lifetime of